my lecture today we shall discuss the one dimensional wave equation and its solution by the product method and the D'Alembert's method. We shall take a uniform elastic string tightly stretched between two fixed points and consider its transverse vibrations under suitable assumptions. We shall see that it gives us the equation as delta square u over delta t square equal to c square times delta square u over delta x square, where u x t denotes the displacement of the string at a distance x and at time t. This equation, as we know from classification of partial differential equations, is a hyperbolic partial differential equation. So, we shall discuss its solution by taking the product method and then by the classification by the D'Alembert's method. Let us consider an elastic string stretched to a length L with fixed endpoints. The string is distorted and released at a certain instant. We take that instant as t equal to 0, and then we will discuss the deflection which we denote by u x t at any point x and at a time t greater than 0 of the string. The assumptions are: the string is homogeneous, it is perfectly elastic and does not offer any resistance to bending. The waist of the string in the stretched stage is negligible. The motion of the string is a small transverse vibration. The higher powers of u and delta u over delta x, which we have denoted by u x, are negligible. That is, the higher powers of u and its slope delta u over delta x are negligible. Let us consider the motion of an element p q of length delta s. The forces that are acting on this element are the tensions at the points p and q, which act along the tangents. T1 is the tension at the point p and T2 is the tension at the point q. Since the string is perfectly elastic, it does not offer any resistance to bending. Now, when we resolve these forces T1 and T2 horizontally and vertically, then the horizontal component of the force T1 will be T1 cos of alpha, horizontal component of the force T2 will be T2 cos of beta. So, we shall have T1 cos of alpha equal to T2 cos of beta, because there is no horizontal along horizontal direction they are equal, and then in the vertical direction there is a movement only in the transverse direction of the elastic string. So, T1 cos of alpha must be equal to T2 cos of beta, and in the vertical direction, that is along the y axis, we have m delta s. M delta s is the mass of the element p q, m delta s into delta square u over delta t square equal to this is, and here we will have a vertical component of T2 will be T2 sin of beta, while the vertical component of T1 will be T1 sin of alpha. So, T2 sin of beta minus T1 sin of alpha. So, we shall have the equations of motion as, if u x t denotes the vertical displacement at time t and at a distant point x, then after resolving the tensions horizontally and vertically, we have T2 sin beta minus T1 sin of alpha equal to m delta s into delta square u over delta t square, and T2 cos beta equal to T1 cos of alpha, because there is no horizontal acceleration. Now, the second equation T2 cos beta minus T1 cos of alpha equal to 0 shows that for every element of the string T2 cos beta is equal to T1 cos of alpha, and so we can take it as a constant, say t. Now, from the above equations of motion, we have then m delta t m delta s over t. Let us divide the equation, first equation by t, then m delta s by t into delta square u by delta t square equal to T2 sin beta over t, that is t we can take as T2 cos beta. So, T2 sin beta over T2 cos beta minus T1 sin alpha over t. Here we take the value of t as T1 cos of alpha. So, we have T1 sin alpha over T1 cos of alpha, and then the right hand side becomes, right hand side of this equation becomes tan beta minus tan of alpha, and from the figure it is clear that tan alpha and tan beta are the slopes of the curve at the point x and at the point x plus delta x, and therefore, tan alpha is equal to the partial derivative of u with respect to x at x, and tan beta will be the partial derivative of u with respect to x at x plus delta x, that is the slopes at x and at x plus delta x. And by our assumption, delta s is equal to delta x to a first order approximation. Hence, m delta s over t delta square u over delta t square is equal to tan beta minus tan of alpha, which implies that m delta square u over delta t square, m over t delta square u over delta t square is equal to tan beta minus tan alpha, that is delta u over delta x at x plus tan alpha minus delta u over delta x at x divided by delta x. Now, as delta x goes to 0, the right hand side of this equation, that is 1 over delta x delta u over delta x at x plus delta x minus delta u over delta x at x will tend to delta square u over delta x square, and m over t are will take it to the right side. So, it will become t over m. T over m is a the physical constant t over m is positive. So, we can write it as c square, and that will lead us to the partial differential equation delta square u over delta t square equal to c square delta square u over delta x square. So, since this expression as delta x goes to 0 tends to delta square u over delta x square, we obtain the following linear partial differential equation: delta square u over delta t square equal to c square delta square u over delta x square, which is known as the one dimensional wave equation. Further, because c t over m, the physical constant t over m is positive, we may take it this as the square of c. So, we have the differential equation as u t t equal to c square into u x x. Now, the boundary conditions in this case are u 0 t equal to 0, because at the ends the ends of the string are fixed. So, there is no displacement at the ends of the vibrating string, that is at x equal to 0 for all the time t, there is no displacement. So, u 0 t is equal to 0. Further, at the other end, that is at x equal to L, for all the time t there is no displacement. So, u L t is equal to 0. The initial conditions are if the initial shape of the string is that of a curve u equal to f x and it is released from rest, then we have u x 0 equal to f x and delta u over delta t equal to 0 when t equal to 0. Here we are assuming that the initial shape of the string is given by a curve, say u equal to f x, and it is released from rest. So, there is the velocity delta u over delta t is 0 at t equal to 0, and at t equal to 0 u x t is equal to f x. Now, another set of initial conditions may be taken as u x 0 is equal to 0 and delta u over delta t equal to g x when t is equal to 0. That is, initially there is no displacement in the string. At time t equal to 0, u x t is 0, but the initial velocity of the string is given by a function of x. So, that is g x. So, when at t equal to 0, the initial velocity is given by this g x. In the most general case, one may take the initial conditions as the initial shape of the string is given by a curve that is the function f x, that is, so u x 0 is equal to f x, and the initial velocity at the time t equal to 0 is also given by a function of x, that is g x. Now, let us solve this differential equation using the separation of variables method, which is also known as product method. So, we shall be solving this wave equation, one dimensional wave equation, subject to the conditions the u0 t equal to ult equal to 0, which are the two boundary conditions, and the initial conditions we shall take as the most general case, that is at the time t equal to 0 u is given by f x, and at time t equal to 0 the velocity is given by g x. So, let us assume that the function u, the known function u, can be written as the product of two functions. One is a function of x, another one is a function of t, and so u is assumed to be of a particular form. It is a product of two functions. One is a function of x, another one is a function of t. That is why we call it a product method or separation of variables method. So, assume that u is equal to f into t. Then, if you differentiate u partially with respect to t twice, you will get f into t double dot. So, here dots represent the derivatives with respect to t, and if you differentiate it partially with respect to x twice, then you get delta square u over delta x square as f double dash x into t. So, f double dash here represent the second derivative of f with respect to x. So, primes denote the derivatives with respect to x, while the dots denotes derivative with respect to t. And now, let us put the values of these u x x and u t t in the given one dimensional wave equation. We will have f t double dot equal to c square f double dash into t. We can separate the functions of x and t. So, we shall have t double dot over c square into t equal to f double dash over f. Now, if you look at this equation, t double dot over c square t equal to f double dash over f, then t double dot over c square t is a function of t alone, while f double dash over f is a function of x alone, and they are equal. Such an equation is possible only when both are equal to a constant. So, t double dot over c square t equal to f double dash over f must be equal to a constant, which we can take as say k. Then we will have this will lead us to two ordinary differential equations of second order, f double dash minus k f equal to 0 and t double dot minus c square into k t equal to 0. Now, we are having the boundary condition that u 0 t is equal to 0, and we have assumed that u x t equal to f x into t t. So, let us put x equal to 0 there. Then what will happen? We will get u 0 t equal to f 0 into t t, which is equal to 0, and also we have u l t equal to 0. So, u l t is equal to f l into t t equal to 0 for all the time t. Now, if t t is equal to 0, then u x t equal to f x into t t will give you u as identically 0, that is at for all the time t and the for all x u is 0. So, this is an inadmissible case, and so we will take u t to be not equal to 0, and then one will have f 0 equal to 0 and f l equal to 0. Now, let us discuss the various cases which occur due to the constant k. The constant k may be 0, it may be positive, it may be negative. So, we first discuss the case when k is 0. If k is 0, f double dash minus k f equal to 0 will imply that f double dash is 0. Okay. So, that will give us, after integration twice with respect to x, it will lead us to f x equal to a x plus b. Now, we already have from the boundary conditions that f 0 is 0 and f l equal to 0. So, if we make use of these two conditions, then we shall have a and b both zeros, and since a and b both are zeros, f x will be 0 for all values of x, that is f is identically 0, and therefore, again u will be, u being product of f and t will be identically 0. So, this is again inadmissible case. Now, if k is taken to be positive, then f double dash minus k f equal to 0 will be giving us this is a homogeneous second order ordinary second order differential equation. So, we can write its auxiliary equation as m square minus k equal to 0, which will give us two values of m as m equal to plus minus root k. They are both real and distinct, and therefore, the complementary function will be equal to some constant, that is a 1 times e to the power root k into x plus b 1 times e to the power minus root k into x. Here the particular integral is 0 because the right hand side is 0. So, the general solution may be written as the complementary function plus particular integral, that is f x equal to a 1 e to the power root k into x plus b 1 e to the power minus root k into x. Now, again in order to determine a 1 and b 1, let us make use of f 0 equal to 0 and f l equal to 0. So, f 0 equal to f l equal to 0 then implies that f x is 0 for all values of x, that is f is identically 0, which will imply that u is identically 0. So, k greater than 0 is also not suitable. Let us now consider k to be negative, and since k is negative constant, we can take it as negative of mu square. Then the differential equation, the second order differential equation for f leads us to this solution, f x equal to a cos mu x plus b sin mu x. Now, making use of f 0 equal to 0, it follows that a is equal to 0, and when you take f l equal to 0, we get b sin mu l equal to 0. Now, if you take here b equal to 0, then a and b both zeros will give you f x equal to 0 for all values of x, which will give you u equal to 0 for all x and t. So, b cannot be taken as 0. So, the other possibility is that sin mu l is equal to 0, and sin mu l equal to 0 then gives us mu l equal to n pi or mu equal to n pi by l, where n can take all integral values 0 plus minus 1 plus minus 2 plus minus 3 and so on. If you take n equal to 0 here, then mu is equal to 0, and mu equal to 0 will give you k equal to 0, and we have seen that when k is equal to 0, we get the displacement function u as identically 0. So, that case was not admissible, and therefore, n is equal to 0 is ruled out here. When you take negative values of n equal to minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on, that is, then we know that sin of minus theta is minus sin theta. So, what we will get? We will get the solutions as negative, we will get a same set of solutions, except that we will have a negative sign associated with it. So, we will get nothing new. Okay. So, that is why the negative values of n can also be discarded. So, we will say that mu is equal to n pi by l, where n is a positive integer, that is n is taking values 1, 2, 3 and so on. So, now it is sufficient to consider n as positive integer, because sin minus theta is equal to minus sin theta. So, now we can also take for convenience, we can also take v equal to 1, and then we shall get the solutions as sin n pi x over l, where n takes values 1, 2, 3 and so on. So, each value of n is giving us a solution of the second order ordinary differential equation for f, and so we denote them by f n x. So, f n x is equal to sin n pi x over l when n takes values 1, 2, 3 and so on, where now with k equal to minus mu square, let us see what do we get from the second differential equation, that is the second order differential equation for t. So, t double dot minus c square k t equal to 0 becomes t double dot plus lambda is n square t equal to 0, where lambda n is equal to c n pi over l after putting k equal to minus mu square, and we have t double dot plus c square mu square into t equal to 0, and that will give us, and mu is we have seen n pi over l. So, we will get lambda n equal to C n pi over L. So, this will give us this as the solution. T double dot plus lambda n square t equal to 0 will give us the solution, general solution as T n t equal to B n cos lambda n t plus C n sin lambda n t. For each value of n, this differential equation will give us a solution. So, we can call this solution for the nth equation as the equation for n as T n t. So, T n t is B n cos lambda n t plus C n sin lambda n t. Thus, the solution of the given wave equation is u n x t equal to, this is T n t, this is T n t, V n cos lambda n t plus C n sin lambda n t, and this is f n x sin n pi x over L. We had assumed that u x t equal to f into t. So, from that we are getting this, and n is taking values 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now, since the wave equation is a linear partial differential equation of second order and it is homogeneous, so we can superpose the above solutions and obtain the infinite series u x t equal to sigma n equal to 1 to infinity B n cos lambda n t plus C n sin lambda n t into sin n pi x over L. Let us call it as equation number 1. Now, we have assumed that the initial shape of this string, elastic string, is given by the curve u equal to f x. So, u x 0 equal to f x implies if you put t equal to 0 in the equation number 1, what you get is u x 0 equal to sigma n equal to 1 to infinity V n sin n pi x over L, which is equal to f x. Now, this series is a half range expansion of the function f x, which this we know from our study of the Fourier series. So, this series is the half range expansion of f x, and if you recall the in the case of the half range expansion, the coefficients b n's are given by 2 over L integral 0 to L f x sin n pi x over L dx, which this equation we call as equation 2. Now, if you differentiate this the equation 1, that is the equation for u x t with respect to t partially, then what you get, this is the equation 1, we are going to differentiate it partially with respect to t in order to use the second condition delta u over delta t at t equal to 0. So, with respect to t, when you differentiate it, what you get and use that delta u over delta t at t equal to 0 is g x, that is the initial velocity of the string is given by the function g x. We will have sigma n equal to 1 to infinity C n lambda n sin n pi x over L equal to g x, again giving us the Fourier sine series of the function g x, and therefore, the C n lambda n will be equal to 2 over L integral 0 to L g x sin n pi x over L dx. Now, let us put the value of lambda n here as C n pi over L, then we will get C n as 2 over C n pi integral 0 to L g x sin n pi x over L dx, where n takes values 1, 2, 3 and so on. Let us call it as equation number 3. Hence, u x t given by the equation 1 is a solution of the wave equation, where V n and C n's are given by equations 2 and 3, provided the series in 1 converges, and the series obtained by differentiating 1 twice with respect to x and t converges to the sums delta square u over delta x square and delta square u over delta t square, and these sums are continuous. Now, it can be shown that if f double dash x and g double dash x exists in the interval 0 to L and their one sided derivatives at x equal to 0, that is f prime 0 plus and g prime 0 plus, f prime L minus and g prime L minus are 0, then the series in 1 converges to u x t, which is continuous in both x and t. The solution u n x t and taking values 1, 2, 3 and so on are called the eigenfunctions, and lambda n equal to C n pi over L are called the eigenvalues of the vibrating string. Each u n represents a harmonic motion of frequency lambda n over 2 pi. Lambda n is C n pi over L. So, lambda n over 2 pi is equal to C n over 2 L cycles per unit time and is called the nth normal mode of the string. Now, let us take an example based on the one dimensional wave equation. So, initial displacement and velocity of a homogeneous elastic string tightly stretched between the points x equal to 0 and x equal to L are given by u x 0 equal to 0, u dot x 0 equal to b sin cube pi x over L. So, we are given that the initial shape of the homogeneous elastic string is given by u x 0 equal to 0, that is we are given f x equal to 0, and we are given the initial velocity of the elastic string as a function of x given by b sin cube pi x over L, and by our notation the initial velocity is g x. So, g x is equal to v sin cube pi x over L. Here we are to determine the motion of the given elastic string. Now, we know that the motion is governed by the one dimensional wave equation, delta square u over delta t square equal to c square delta square u over delta x square, and the displacement at any time t is given by u x t equal to sigma n equal to 1 to infinity v n cos lambda n t plus c n sin lambda n t into sin n pi x over L. Now, we are given that u x 0 is equal to f x equal to 0. So, when you put t equal to 0 here, what you get? Sigma n u x 0 as sigma n equal to 1 to infinity b n sin n pi x over L, because when you put t equal to 0 this will vanish. So, and sigma n equal to 1 to infinity b n sin n pi x over L is equal to 0 implies that b n is equal to 0 for all values of n. Now, we have to determine the values of C n. So, for that let us write sin cube pi x over L as 3 over 4 sin pi x over L minus 1 over 4 sin 3 pi x over L, because we know that sin 3 theta is 3 sin theta minus 4 sin cube theta. So, from that sin cube pi x over L may be written in this form. Now, this form will be very convenient to us in the evaluation of C n. So, we know that C n is given by 2 over C n pi integral 0 to L g x sin n pi x over L dx. Let us put the value of g x. We are given that g x is equal to b sin cube pi x over L. So, C n is equal to 2 over C n pi integral 0 to L b sin cube pi x over L into sin n pi x over L dx. Now, here when you put the value of sin cube pi x over L as 3 by 4 sin pi x over L minus 1 by 4 sin 3 pi x over L, then using the orthogonality of the sine functions sin n pi x over L over the interval 0 to L, we will be able to determine the value of the constant C n's very easily, as we shall see now. So, C n is equal to 2b over C n pi integral 0 to L 3 over 4 sin pi x over L sin n pi x over L dx. We have broken the right hand side into two parts corresponding to the two terms in the expression for sin cube pi x over L. So, we have the right hand side as this and minus 2b over C n pi integral 0 to L 1 by 4 sin 3 pi x over L into sin n pi x over L. Now, let us use the orthogonality of sin n pi x over L functions over the interval 0 to L, then 3 over 4 is a constant. So, integral 0 to L sin pi x over L into sin n pi x over L dx will always be 0 for all values of n except n equal to 1, and here integral 0 to L sin 3 pi x over L into sin n pi x over L dx will be 0 for all values of n except n is equal to 3. So, if n is taking a value other than 1 or 3, then this integral will be 0, this integral will also be 0. So, C n will be equal to 0, and therefore, C n is 0 for all values of n except when n is taking values 1 or 3. So, let us determine the value of C n for n equal to 1 and the value of C n for n equal to 3. So, first we take n equal to 1 to determine C 1. When we take n equal to 1 in here, then what will happen? This integral will vanish. The integral 0 to L sin q 3 pi x by L into sin pi x by L dx. So, C 1 will be equal to then 2 2b over c n pi into 3 by 4 will give us 3b over 2 c pi integral 0 to L sin square pi x by L dx, which can be written as 3b over 4 c pi integral 0 to L 1 minus cos 2 pi x over L dx. And when you evaluate the value of this integral and simplify it, you get 3bl over 4 c pi as the value of. Similarly, we may compute the value of C3, which is given by minus b over 6 c pi integral 0 to L sin square 3 pi x over L into dx. It is equal to minus b over 12 c pi integral 0 to L 1 minus cos 6 pi x over L dx. When you evaluate the value of this integral and simplify, the value of C3 comes out to be minus bl over 12 c pi, and hence the displacement function u x t is given by 3 bl over 4 c pi sin c pi over L into sin pi x over L. This is the term corresponding to C1, and this is the term corresponding to C3. So, we have minus bl over 12 c pi sin 3 pi c t over L into sin 3 pi x over L. So, which can further be written as bl over 12 c pi into 9 sin c pi t over L into sin pi x over L minus sin 3 pi c t over L into sin 3 pi x over L. Let us look at another example of a tightly stretched flexible string, which has its ends fixed at x equal to 0 and x equal to L, and at time t equal to 0 the string is given a shape defined by the function f x equal to mu into x into L minus x, where mu is a constant, and then released. Find the displacement of any point x of the string and at any time t greater than 0. So, the initial conditions here are mu x 0 u x 0 is equal to mu x into L minus x, and the initial velocity, that is delta u over delta t at t equal to 0 is given to be 0. The solution is then given by u x t equal to sigma n equal to 1 to infinity v n cos n pi c t over L plus c n sin n pi c t over L into sin n pi x over L. Now, here we are given the function g x as 0. So, that will give us c n equal to 0 for all values of n, and we are given the function f x as mu x into L minus x. So, we will determine the value of v n using the function f x as mu x into L minus x. So, if you differentiate that expression for u x t, delta u over delta t is sigma n equal to 1 to infinity n pi c over L into c n cos n pi c t over L minus b n sin n pi c t over L sin n pi x over L. So, we are given that delta u over delta t is equal to 0 at t equal to 0. If you put t equal to 0 here, these terms vanish, and what we have is delta u over delta t at t equal to 0 sigma n equal to 1 to infinity n pi c over L into c n sin n pi x over L. So, since delta u over delta t is 0 at t equal to 0, it follows that c n's are zeros for all values of n 1, 2, 3 and so on. And using u equal to mu x into L minus x at t equal to 0, we get from the equation for u x t, it follows that mu into x into L minus x is equal to sigma n equal to 1 to infinity v n sin n pi x over L, and which gives us v n as 2 over L integral 0 to L mu x into L minus x into sin n pi x over L dx, using the half range expansion of the function mu x into L minus x. So, that last integral then gives us, on integration by parts, 2 mu by L into L x minus x square into minus L over n pi cos n pi x over L minus L minus 2 x into minus L square over n square pi square into sin n pi x over L plus minus 2 into L cube over n cube pi cube cos n pi x over L. the limits of integration are 0 and L. So, here when you put the limits L and 0, what you get on simplification, you get B n as 2 mu over L into this becomes 0 when you put x equal to L and you put this 0. So, for both upper and lower limits, this expression gives us 0. So, we have 0 plus 0, and when you put x equal to L here in the third term on the right side, what you get is minus 2 L cube over n cube pi cube into cos n pi, and then you get, when you put the lower limit, you get plus 2 L cube over n cube pi cube into 1. So, we have the right hand side like this, which is equal to 4 mu L square over n cube pi cube into 1 minus cos n pi. Now, let us look at the case when n is an odd positive integer. When n is an odd positive integer, cos n pi will be equal to minus 1. So, 1 minus cos n pi will be equal to 2, and therefore, we get the value of V n as 8 mu L square over n cube pi cube if n is an odd integer. But if you take n to be an even integer, then cos n pi is equal to 1. So, we will get B n as 0. So, the value of B n is 0 when n is an even positive integer. Hence, we get the required displacement function u x t as 8 mu L square over pi cube. Now, in the we have seen that B n is 0 when n is even, and it is 8 mu L square over n cube pi cube when n is odd. So, when n is an odd integer, let us take n to be equal to 2 m minus 1. So, where m takes values 1, 2, 3 and so on. So, then u will be equal to 8 mu L square over pi cube, sigma m takes values from 1 to infinity, n is replaced by 2 m minus 1. So, we will get 1 over this n is 2 m minus 1. So, 1 over 2 m minus 1 whole cube into sin n pi x over L becomes sin 2 m minus 1 into pi x over L, and cos n pi c t over L becomes cos 2 m minus 1 pi c t over L. Now, let us discuss one more example before we discuss the D'Alembert's solution for the one dimensional wave equation. Here we are considering a tightly stretched violin string of length L, which is fixed at both its ends and is plugged at x equal to L by 3. It assumes initially the shape of a triangle of height A at x equal to L by 3. We have to find the displacement function u at any distance x and at a time t after the string is released from rest. So, we are given that the initial velocity of the string is 0, delta u over delta t at t equal to 0, and we are given that u x 0 is given by the triangle of height A at x equal to L by 3. So, let us again discuss the solution of the one dimensional wave equation, which is governing the motion of the stretched violin string. The equation is delta square u over delta t square equal to c square delta square u over delta x square. So, this is the shape of the triangle. At x equal to L by 3, we have assumed that the string is plugged and it assumes a height A. So, now let us find the equation of the line segment OC. Equation of the line segment OC will be u equal to 3 a y L into x. At x equal to 0, we know that u is equal to 0, and at x equal to L by 3, we are given that the height of the triangle is A. So, u is equal to A at x equal to L by 3, and therefore, the equation of OC is u equal to 3 a y L into x. Similarly, the equation of the line segment CA will be u equal to 3 a y 2 into 1 minus x by L. When x is equal to L, we know that u is equal to 0, there is no displacement at the end x equal to L, that is A, and at x equal to L by 3, u is equal to A. So, when you put x equal to L by 3 here, we get 1 minus 1 by 3, that is 2 by 3, 2 by 3 multiplied to 3 a by 2 gives you u as A. So, the u equal to 3 a by 2 into 1 minus x by L is the equation of the line segment C A. The boundary conditions are as usual u 0 t equal to 0 and u L t equal to 0. Now, the initial condition, one initial condition that is given to us is that this thing is released from rest. So, delta u over delta t is 0 at t equal to 0 and it is initially in the shape of the triangle. We have found the equations of the triangle, the two sides of it, that is OC and CA. This is OC. So, u x 0 equal to 3 a by L into x when 0 is less than or equal to x and x is less than L by 3, and it is 3 a by 2 into 1 minus x by L when L by 3 is less than or equal to x and x is less than or equal to L. Now, we have the solution of the one dimensional wave equation as u x t equal to sigma n equal to 1 to infinity b n cos n pi c t over L plus E n sin n pi c t over L into sin n pi x over L. Since delta u over delta t is 0 at t equal to 0, C n and C n is given by 2 over C n pi integral 0 to L g x sin n pi x over L dx. It follows that C n is equal to 0 for all values of n, because the initial velocity at t equal to 0 we have represented by g x and we are given the initial velocity as 0. So, g x is 0 and so C n is 0 for all values of n. The value of B n is given by 2 over L integral 0 to L f x sin n pi x over L dx. We have the expression for f x over the interval 0 to L, f x is 3 a x by L, over the interval L by 3 to L, f x is 3 a by 2 into 1 minus x by L. So, we have broken this integral into two parts, 0 to L by 3 and L by 3 to L, and substituted the values of f x over these intervals. Now, the right hand side of B n then gives us 3 a by L square integral 0 to L by 3 2 x sin n pi x over L dx plus L by 3 to L L minus x into sin n pi x over L dx. When we integrate it by parts, the first integral, what we get is minus 2 L over n pi x cos n pi x over L plus 2 L square over n square pi square sin n pi x over L. These are the limits of integration 0 and L by 3, and then we have, after integrating the second integral by parts, we have minus L square over n pi cos n pi x over L minus L over n pi minus x cos n pi x over L plus L over n pi sin n pi x over L. L by 3 and L are the limits of integration. When you simplify this, you get the value of B n as 9 a over n square pi square sin n pi by 3, and hence the solution of the given problem is u x t equal to 9 a by pi square sigma n equal to 1 to infinity 1 by n square sin n pi by 3 into sin n pi x by L into cos n pi c t over L. Now, we are going to discuss the D'Alembert's solution of the wave equation. So, as let us recall the wave equation, it is delta square u over delta t square equal to delta square u over delta x square, where we have by c square we have where c square is equal to t by m. Now, we are going to show that it can be solved by a change of the independent variables, and the independent variables, as we know, are x and t here. So, let us define a new set of independent variables b and z, such that b is equal to x plus c t and z is equal to x minus c t. Now, from these relations it follows that when you differentiate v partially with respect to x, you get delta v over delta x as 1, and delta v over delta x we have denoted by v x. So, v x is equal to 1. Similarly, delta z over delta x, that is z x is equal to 1. Now, using the chain rule of partial differentiation, we can then write u x, that is delta u over delta x. Since u is a function of x and t and x and t are functions of v and z, u is a function of b and z. So, delta u over delta x by chain rule will be delta u over delta b into delta v by delta x plus delta u by delta z into delta z by delta x. Now, making use of v x equal to 1 and z x equal to 1, it follows that the partial derivative of u with respect to x, that is u x, is equal to delta u over delta v, that is u b, plus delta u over delta z, that is u z. Now, when we apply this operator delta over delta x on u again on u x, we get u x x equal to u v v plus 2 u v z plus u z z. And similarly, we can show that u t t comes out to be equal to c square times u v v minus 2 u v z plus u z z, because for this u t t we will need the values of v t and z t, and v t, that is delta b over delta t, comes out to be c, delta z over delta t comes out to be minus c. So, we can follow the same procedure as we have done for finding u x x. If we follow the same procedure for u t t, it comes out to be this. And substituting these values of u x x and u t t in the given wave equation, that is u t t equal to c square u x x, it turns out that u v z is equal to 0. That is delta square u over delta v delta z is equal to 0. When we integrate this equation with respect to z, what we will have? Delta u over delta v is equal to h v, where h v is an arbitrary function of v alone. Now, when we integrate this equation again with respect to v, we will have u, that is u equal to integral h v d v plus a function of z, which we have denoted by phi z. Phi z is an arbitrary function of z. So, here constant of integration is a function of z, and thus u may be written as psi v plus phi z. Psi v is integral of h v d v here, or we may write u as psi of x plus c t, because we have written v for x plus c t and we have written z for x minus c t. So, u is equal to psi of x plus c t and phi of x minus c t. Now, this solution of the wave equation is known as the D'Alembert solution of the wave equation, after the French mathematician Jean Léonard D'Alembert. Now, let us find the values of the arbitrary function psi and phi. Let us assume that u x 0 is equal to f x and delta u over delta t at t equal to 0 is 0. So, initially the string is released from rest, and it is its shape is initially given by the function f x. Let us differentiate u equal to psi x plus c t plus phi x minus c t with respect to t. We will get delta u over delta t equal to c into psi dash x plus c t minus c into phi dash x minus c t, where the primes here denote the derivative with respect to x plus c t and the derivative with respect to x minus c t. Thus, u dot x 0 equal to, so when you put here t equal to 0, what you get? Delta u over delta t at t equal to 0 gives you u dot x 0. U dot x 0 will be equal to c times psi dash x minus c times phi dash x, and we are given that u dot x 0 is equal to 0, this condition. So, u dot x 0 equal to 0 gives you c times psi dash x minus c times phi dash x equal to 0. And when you put here t equal to 0 in this, what you get? U x 0 equal to psi x plus phi x, and we are given u x 0 equal to f x. So, psi x plus phi x is equal to f x. Now, from these two equations, we are now going to determine the unknown functions, arbitrary functions phi x and psi x. So, c times psi dash x minus c times phi dash x equal to 0 gives you phi equal to psi plus k. This you can divide by c, and then you have phi dash x equal to psi dash x, integrate with respect to x, we will have phi x equal to psi x plus k. This k is an arbitrary constant. Now, let us substitute this value of phi in the other equation, psi x plus phi x equal to f x. What we will get? We will get 2 psi plus k equal to f, or we may say that psi is equal to f minus k by 2, and hence the solution becomes u equal to psi x plus c t plus phi x minus c t becomes psi x minus c t plus k from this equation, and let us put the value of psi here now. So, psi x plus c t gives you f x plus c t minus k by 2, that is half of f x plus c t minus half k, and psi x minus c t, when you find from here, what you get is half of f x minus c t minus half of k, and then plus k here. So, this gives you half of f x plus c t plus f x minus c t. Now, if we assume that the initial velocity g x is not identically 0, then we shall obtain the solution of the wave equation as u x t equal to half of f x plus c t plus f x minus c t plus 1 by 2 c integral over x minus c t to x plus c t g s d s. This can be easily shown. Now, let us take an example on the D'Alembert method. Let us find the deflection of a vibrating string of length L equal to 1 with fixed ends starting with initial velocity 0 and initial deflection f x equal to k times x minus x cube. Now, by a D'Alembert's method, we know that the solution is given by u x t equal to half of f x plus c t plus f x minus c t. So, let us put the value of f here. F is equal to k times x minus x cube. So, we will get u x t as half of k into x plus c t minus x plus c t whole cube plus x minus c t minus x minus c t whole cube. And if you simplify this expression, you get the value of u x t as k into x into 1 minus x square minus 3 c square t square. So, k x is u. So, u x t comes out to be k x into 1 minus x square minus 3 c square t square, which implies that when you put t equal to 0 here, you get u x 0 as k times x minus x cube, and which is nothing but the function f x. So, this solution of the wave equation satisfies the initial condition u x 0 equal to f x, and if you differentiate it with respect to t and then put t equal to 0, what you get u dot x 0 as minus 6 c square k x t at t equal to 0, which gives us the value 0. So, it satisfies the other initial condition also, and so the boundary conditions also hold for this solution u x t equal to k x into 1 minus x square minus 3 c square t square, and so it gives us the solution of the given problem. Now, in our lecture, in our next lecture, we shall discuss one dimensional heat equation, which is delta u over delta t equal to c square delta square u over delta x square. That equation we shall again solve by using the separation of variables method, that is the product method, which we have discussed here. There also we shall see that we will have to use the half range expansion of the Fourier series for finding the constants b n's and c n's. That this all will be done in our next lecture on one dimensional heat equation. Thank you.